first four West region out of Dayton, Ohio, the 16th seeds. It's Wagner and Howard. Howard back in the tournament, repping the MEAC for a second straight year. Wagner dancing for the first time since 2003 after winning the NEC tournament. Neither team's ever won a game in the big dance, so this is a big one for both. Early first half, Wagner up 3. It's tipped into the backcourt, but Melvin Council retrieves and then drops the 3. Seahawks by 6. That's some great hustle from Council. He led the way with 13 points in the first half. Just over 2 minutes to go in the half. Wagner up 9. It's tipped in the backcourt again. This one is taken back by Javier Escara, and he drops a 3 from the logo. And Wagner's up 11 at the half, even though they didn't shoot a free throw. It's kind of incredible. Just over 5 minutes left now. Wagner's up 11. Council's got it up top, and he's going to drive in and lay it up and in. Seahawks up 13. That lead would balloon to as much as 17. Council finished with a game high 21. Bison looking to rally late, though. 2.5 minutes left. They're down 10. Isaiah Warfield to Seth Towns. We got ourselves a 7-point game. Bison sensing a comeback. Just over a minute left. Howard down 5. Isaiah Warfield intercepts and lays it home. Howard's within 3. We got a 1-possession game. Strap in, folks. Welcome to March. 20 seconds left. Still down 3. Bryce Harris has it. Drives to the paint. He scores. It's a 1-point game. Bison have cut it to 1 thanks to a 14-2 run in just over a 2-minute span of play. Wagner goes up 3 on free throws. Howard with a chance to tie it in the final seconds. Jordan Harrison misses once, misses twice. One more shot. It's Dockery, and it's no good. And that's how it ends. And what a way to begin the 2024 NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Tournament. Wagner, for the first time in school history, survives and advances. 71-68, that's your final. Howard falls to 0-4 all-time in the NCAA tournament. Melvin Council Jr., by the way, he just lead the team in scoring with 21. Also, double digits in points now in 13 of his last 14 games. And Wagner is on to the first round where they will face North Carolina in Charlotte on Thursday.
Congratulations on the win. How would you describe those last few minutes?
You know what? In the past, I've been really a little disoriented or whatnot, but I tried to remain calm. I thought my guys did a great job of being calm. I know we made some tough plays down the stretch. You know, I think they're really good at those traps and pressures and everything, but you know what? We're tough. We finished the game the right way.
How did this team get from 13-15 to here?
Just staying with it, man. You know what? We put a lot of pressure on ourselves, even though going through tough times in the season. We never doubted anything. You know, we expected a lot despite what we were going through. You know, and when you do that, that gives you a chance right now. And I think if you do things the right way, you always give yourself a chance to show up in these moments.
Well, you'll need to show up in these next moments in your next game because North Carolina is next. Your thought process?
No, man, they're as good as you get in the country. You know, they're a national title contender. We're going to have to be really, really good, a lot better than we were today, especially in the second half. So we'll prepare and do the best we can.
All right, congratulations and safe travels.
Seahawks picking up their first ever NCAA tournament win. Now they get to play one of the bluest of blue bloods. The top seed in the West region, North Carolina Tar Heels in Charlotte. This is the 18th time UNC is a #1 seed. That extends their all-time record. Should be a fun one for Wagner, which was a 6th seed in the NEC tournament. They are a Cinderella all the way through the first 4, and now they get the #1 seed in the West. And welcome into the Primetime Scoreboard on CBS Sports HQ. Russ Thaler here in studio with the Director of Scouting for 24/7 Sports. It's Adam Finkelstein. Kip Patterson from CBS Sports joins us on the bird as well. Let's start, Kip, with what we just watched, because for all the world, it looked like Wagner was just running away with this thing. They were up 17. What happened? How did Howard get back into it? And how did Wagner hold on?
Well, all right. So first of all, you're right. I thought that we were looking at a Wagner runaway. I always knew that there was a potential that as Wagner tried to slow things down, because they'd been playing a little bit quicker than they would have preferred given the circumstances of their roster and the foul situation, I thought that maybe they would press a little bit and it would open an opportunity. But Howard all night just could not make a shot. They're able to get some good points at the free throw line, but ultimately this is, to me, Wagner letting Howard back into the game. But, you know, you credit the Seahawks team for being able to close it out, because if this game had gone 3 minutes longer or 5 minutes longer, then Howard might have been able to get a win. But, you know, great job by the group. I have to think that Melvin Council earned himself a little bit of money tonight. Maybe Adam can talk about his value big time, but I saw 21 points on 18 shots. He played all 40 minutes, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. Like, that was some great individual playmaking from Council when Wagner needed it the most.
How about the NEC champs coming through again? We saw it last year with Fairleigh Dickinson getting out of the first four. Now it's Wagner, and in some ways, Adam, it's even more impressive considering where Wagner started at the beginning of their conference.
Yeah, or even where they were just 2 weeks ago. I mean, they had lost their last 2 games of the regular season. There were a couple games under 500 going into NEC conference play. They win 3 games in a row by beating the top 3 teams in their league on the road. Then they get to this game. It looks like they're going to run away with it, as Chip said, and then to just hold on, because what you just saw was the essence of what makes March Madness the best postseason in all of sports. It's the emotion and the pressure of it. We forget these are just kids, right? They're kids going through this moment, trying to hang on to a lead on national TV, and you could see the impact of momentum under that pressure. And Chip's right. If this game had gone 1 minute longer, Wagner would not have been moving on if things kept going the way it did. So this was great TV. This is what March Madness is all about.
Look, it was a year ago that we saw Fairleigh Dickinson come out of the NEC, win in the first 4, and then beat a #1 seed in Purdue.
After they lost in their championship game. Merrimack wasn't even postseason eligible last year because they were transitioning from Division II to Division I. They won the conference championship, couldn't even go to the tournament.
Amazing. I forgot about that. So now you got a team that was 6th in the conference, under 500 ending up in the conference play, and now they're going to get a crack at a #1 seed as well. Look, Chip, North Carolina, Wagner, we know the Tar Heels are going to be big favorites, but you never know, right? You never know.
I might know, guys. I think I might know with this one. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just such a tough challenge for this Wagner group. They get on a plane. They're flying straight to Charlotte. You know, we talked all through the night, and they talked on the broadcast about this is a roster with only 7 scholarship players. You know, they are in a position where now they are going to go from a game that was maybe a little bit more up-tempo than they would have liked to another up-tempo game going up against R.J. Davis, Armando Bacot, and the North Carolina Tar Heels. And North Carolina, which is coming in with a sour taste in its mouth after losing to its rival NC State in the ACC tournament final, they want to get out and run. They want to establish rhythm. And I don't know if y'all have ever been to a North Carolina NCAA tournament game in a North Carolina site, but Baby Blue packs out the building. This will be a home game for the Tar Heels. I do think I know. The spread, I don't know. I need to run the Chipalytics, but the winner, I think it will be North Carolina advancing.
I don't know. All of Staten Island might show up to that. Probably not.
They might need all of Staten Island because, to Chip's point, I mean, this is a North Carolina team that's just absolutely loaded 1 through 5. I mean, when it comes to position to position, this is just an uphill task, to say the least, for Wagner, but it doesn't take away for what they've accomplished and the fact that they're playing with house money now. You know, so we'll wait for the Chipalytics to figure out exactly what the spread is, but we know Wagner is already playing with house money because of what they did in the conference tournament, because of what they just did here. So they got nothing to lose. They can go out and take their best shot, but at the end of the day, North Carolina is a heavy, heavy favorite.
Yeah, look, full disclosure, I've got North Carolina winning the whole thing in my bracket. I've got them winning the national title. Let's look at the Western region, though. Chip, talk us through North Carolina's route here, maybe to get to the Final Four.
I think it's favorable, and which is a surprise considering they were the 4th #1. I think of all the #1 seed paths, I think that they have the draw that is the easiest. I mean, there could be some stylistic challenges that await them with St. Mary's in the Sweet 16. You know, you've got a Michigan State team that normally you'd always be afraid of Izzo on the 2nd game of a pod. But guess what? North Carolina's had Izzo's number for a long time. And so I don't think there's really any roadblocks until you see those other two teams at the top of the odds board, it would be Arizona or Baylor, and you can't play them both. One of those two would knock the other one out. Both teams very explosive offensively. Both teams maybe have some defensive weaknesses that they're going to try to work on during their tournament path. But for North Carolina, I think getting all the way to the Elite Eight should be the expectation. And I think that for being the fourth number one, getting the easiest region, that's just a little bit of bracket luck, as we like to say.
Do you agree with Chip that Carolina's got a favorable path here?
Yeah, I do. In fact, I think that UConn, the number one overall seed, would love to trade draws with North Carolina. When you look at who the Huskies have in their bracket, I mean, you're talking about 3 of the top 5 teams in KenPom. I know the committee apparently didn't look at KenPom, but nonetheless, the majority of us do. So North Carolina, the team that I think could pose a little bit of a threat to them is Alabama. Alabama does not have the sheer talent that North Carolina does, but they're the second best offense in the country, and the analytics say they could play spoiler because they shoot a lot of threes, they play with a lot of pace, and if those shots are going down from the three-point line, they're capable of beating anyone on any given night. Now, I will say I think Alabama has a little bit of a trap game in that first round because Charleston is a dangerous mid-major team, but if those two lock up, if it becomes Alabama and North Carolina's got to be on their game, especially on the defensive end of the floor.
All right, so Carolina knows who they're going to be playing in the first round. It's Wagner, who just squeaked by after leading by as many as 17 over Howard. They hung on for a 3-point win. The Bison had 3 chances at a 3 as time ran out, but weren't able to find one. I know we're talking about Carolina and Wagner, but Chip, I got to bring up probably the biggest story right now for the tournament is Kansas. They're a 4 seed, but they're not going to have their senior guard, Kevin McCullough. He's out for the entire NCAA tournament with the bone bruise that kept him out of the Big 12 tournament. How much of a blow is this to the Jayhawks, and what does it mean for their chances?
This is a massive blow. Kevin McCullough Jr., even at 70%, is still the team's best defensive player and one of the team's best offensive players as well. He's the key to everything that they do when Kansas has been successful. And to take him all the way out of the lineup, drastically changes Kansas's ceiling. If you thought that this team was going to be able to march all the way to the Final Four, I think you've got to change your expectations to it would be a success to make it to the second weekend. We saw at the end of the season that Kevin McCullough Jr. was really laboring with that knee injury. And so with my expectations, I had already downgraded Kansas a little bit, but you remove him from the lineup entirely. I mean, I know Hunter Dickinson is expected to get back in play, but just look at what happened in their Big 12 tournament opener when Cincinnati wiped the floor with them. So a wildly different Jayhawks team, and the depth issues, which have been something we've pointed at even when they're totally healthy, are now even more important and impactful in terms of what they can accomplish in the tournament.
Adam?
They're playing a Samford team that's going to press them for the vast majority of the game. So they're going to create possessions, and they're going to try and wear down this very thin Kansas lineup, especially on the perimeter. They're going to challenge their young players. They're going to challenge their young guards. They're going to try and get the ball out of DeJuan Harris's hands and make somebody like Elmarco Jackson and Johnny Furphy become the key players. The freshmen are going to have to step up. Samford was a trendy upset pick in the last 48 hours, and it's going to become even more popular before this thing tips off.
Well, there is good news a little bit on the Kansas side. Hunter Dickinson apparently looks great, according to Bill Self. So maybe they'll get the big fella, the transfer from Michigan, back on the court. But yeah, McCullough Jr. is out for the tournament for Kansas. All right, that's Chip Patterson, Adam Finkelstein. These guys are going to be with us all night here.